Maybe you can introduce yourself, who you are,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're building, and every stuff you want to share.
Hi, my name is Yaokai Jiang. I am a software engineer, and I'm the founder and CEO of Momen. Momen is a full-stack, no-code application development platform, and we aim to help non-technical founders to build and scale their MVP.
What do you think about now it's so easy to build an app since everybody can use Cloud Code and just type something? Um, do you notice something change in users about security, about backends, and about no-code tools? Are they more likely to use like no-code tools or Superbase, for instance?
There's clearly change in the market. We have noticed that the patience of the users have gone down. People expect aha moment within 5-10 minutes rather than an hour and a half. So that's definitely changed. The other thing is more people feel empowered to build software. Prior to, I think, a year and a half ago, most people think they have nothing to do with software creation. That if it involves automation with computer, it's not for me. That's usually the thinking.
Yeah.
Now, that fear has mostly gone away. People feel confident that they are willing to give things a try. And within the people that are building software, even there is bifurcation. There's people that's building things just for themselves, one-time scripts, solving their own problem. Those people don't really care about security, scalability, because in the end, it's just a single person using it, or maybe like me and 3 of my friends, right?
Yeah.
Or my colleagues. So that's one type of people, and those people they probably don't even use Superbase. They would local some stuff. Yeah, that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is that people that want to build a product that they own and control and iterate on that product and hopefully build something lasting. And those people look for scalability, comprehensibility, and security of a platform. So that's the difference I see in the user group.
Something I noticed very interesting about the open talk is about visualizations. Since Superbase has only like the data side for visualizations, on Moments you said you have like visualization in every case, like even for edge functions. How do you manage to deal with like there's so much things you can build with edge functions that very like personalized? How do you manage to build in the future things like
Edge functions were never designed in Superbase. So they were never designed to be visualized. They were just TypeScript, right? So in Momen, we started off with building visualizable blocks. So we have grouped them into database CRUD, which follows a very certain pattern, invoking other, well, we call them action flows, right? Now we don't call them the edge functions, invoking other action flows, interacting with other parts of system, let's say invoking an API, invoking the AI agent. So interacting with different abstractions in the system. And for something to be, there's a concept called Turing completeness. You might have heard of it. That just means it can mimic, it can simulate every other single program, right? If something is Turing complete, you can simulate everything. We're not talking about efficiently simulating them. It means you can, right? So the core of that is you have a loop and an if.
Yeah.
You have a loop and an if, and you have a state. So that is, if you have those 3 things, you're Turing complete. So we have those, and that covers most of the bases. And then for things that are more efficiently expressed in code, we do have a code block, in which case that code block is no longer visual. That's just code. We can't look into it, right? For other parts, that's two-way translatable. So they can build in, they would build in the canvas, and that changes the code behind it. And then whenever that code behind it changes, it's reflected back because it was designed to be visualized. So it has certain constraints. Yeah.
What do you think about those AI experts that because you came from software engineering experience, so you have a lot of knowledge about how things work in the industry. What is your visions about like those AI experts that told you you can replace all your entire marketing teams with your the skills? What is the real point of it?
I think it's not about replacing marketing teams or replacing. So the way I think about AI, it is a reduction of cognitive cost. The marginal cost of cognition has gone down. Prior to AI, it's either a human or a dedicatedly trained model, and it's very domain specific. You can train a model to recognize faces or to detect sentiment, but you can't train a model that kind of has this generic intellect, right? And that cost has gone down. So the large language models they have this generic intelligence, which means things that used to require cognition that is not viable to pursue become economically viable. Example, prior to large language models, we have a problem explaining our pricing to our users, because we price in gigabytes, in number of CPUs, in requests per second, things that users don't understand. And we can't have a person there to explain to the user, your directory service of all the car dealers in Frankfurt actually needs 7 RPS and 500 gigabytes of storage. And because every single case is different, and the only thing that can answer that is something intelligent, like a person. And because I sell at $35 a month, I can't afford to have a person answering that question. Now with AI, that cost goes down to two calls to Gemini, which is maybe 30 cents or 20 cents, right? That's the biggest change. I think things that used to cost so much in cognition that's not economically viable to do, to drive more revenue, now become viable. I think that's the lens I would view these through, rather than just simply I'm going to replace everything with AI. And the other thing is, AI is really an amplifier. It's an amplifier of brilliance, and it's an amplifier of chaos too. Exactly. Yeah. So because it's like it's a lever. Anything with leverage, if you're wrong in the way you apply the force, it amplifies that a lot. So yeah, that's why we're gonna see a bunch of AI hangover at some point. And if your prompt, like if prompt is a distillation of your intelligence, is somewhat wrong, now you are able to produce a lot more things wrong, and you won't even be able to notice it. And the way we are using AI in our marketing team, to your question, is our marketing asset has AI assisted generation. From blogs, outlines, blog titles, blog images, to blog content, to review, to picking out posts on Reddit that might be pertinent to us, that we should answer. These things are all done by AI. Because I don't want to spend a person on Reddit just reading every day, right? It's bad. And also the limit where we draw it is like AI can recommend content, but we don't take AI content blindly, because people can detect it. AI slop detect it, not going to read, right? Like we have that, like we don't really want to read AI generated stuff. And it also, I think there is something about real human cognition going into something that makes that thing stand out from the AI noise, because human are a lot more bursty. Opinions of a human is less rounded, sometimes more flawed even. But that's something that we will come to appreciate later, when everything seems just this AI monotone of, average. Exactly. It's very annoying.
You live in San Francisco.
Yep.
So your company is based there too. What's the mood in the valley? Like how do you have some perspective to announce like how people see like the future of work market and the change gonna happen in the next 5 years due to all the stuff?
I mean, you have the AI evangelists, and then you have the doubters, right? So in Silicon Valley, it's mostly just AI evangelists. They're like, AI is going to replace everything. We should have one. We should replace all the social structures that we have created in the past, like say a company, the hierarchy. We should break that all down and reconstruct it with AI. To an extent, I think they have a point. Every time you have a new way of production, you have a massive change in some capability that used to be expensive on the margin. You have structural change in society. I mean, the past ones, for example, electricity, right, and or steam engine, right? That's motion used to be expensive. That's animal. Motion was as expensive as animal, and then it's as expensive as coal, right? And then later, that replaced a bunch of people who feed horses, and then the next one was, internet. That's dissemination of information, right? Prior to that, it was very expensive. Without that, there will be no SaaS, right? So there will be changes. So yes, things will reorganize around the new pricing structure. Really, everything, I think, the world revolves around price. Price is an indication of cost and value, right? So once that changes, we will have new social structures. I'm not entirely sure what those will be. In the Valley, the idea is that you will no longer have, companies. I don't think that's the case, at least not now. If you look at despite the headlines, if you look at the employee count of Meta, Google, Microsoft, Twitter, they're increasing. They're still increasing. You see them. Oh, there's a bunch of AI layoffs. Yeah, well, at the same time they're hiring. So there's a split between what people are saying and what is really happening. So I don't have particular insights as to what will happen in 5 years.
Something more personal.
Yeah.
Since there is a lot of information about AI, new models every week, every second.
Yeah.
How do you manage to catch up like the most important information of it?
I'll split it into two different ways. One is like the headlines. Headlines is typically a new model. New model is, imagine you just hired a more intelligent employee. That's like a hireable, your talent pool has increased. The biggest problem with AI nowadays is not really intelligence. It's been the same ever since large language models were invented. It's memory. And the reason AI always feel a bit awkward to communicate with is that it does not continuously receive stimuli and condense that into its own understanding. There is no hippocampus in an AI. We humans, like after we have this conversation, you would remember very little of what I said, which is a feature, but not a bug. Right? You would remember something. You have a vague recollection of it. It's gonna modify your brain structure in limited ways. That's changing weights. That doesn't happen in an AI. Compact context is lossy, and also it's lossy not in a natural way. So our memory is lossy too. But the way these brain structures are a lot smoother when it comes to losing memory. AI, once you compact, it's very abrupt. Your details goes completely away, rather than smoothly fading into the background, which is what the training does, right? There is a split between training and inference, and that is the biggest problem, I think. All the things that we're trying to build around AI is really trying to compensate that. Whatever the harness engineering, blah, 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 it's to trying to compensate for the fact that AI doesn't have the inherent ability to distill understanding. And so those are the things I pay attention to more. new ways of organizing memory for the AI, how retrieval works, and then how that interacts with the context size when context rots. And the best place to get that is actually archive. Read those papers. They're actually fairly reasonable to read. The headline things about new models and new this that. It's not that difficult to get. Just go to LM Arena and you can look at it, and then that gets you like 95% of the way there, right? Yeah. So, but understanding how memory works and how context construction works, and where the large language model's attention emphasizes, beginning and the end, by the way, helps you constructing agentic workflows. And that has been very useful to me when I'm now trying to integrate our own agentic builder into Moment.
Can you tell people how to find Momen, how to find you on social media?
Okay, so I'm very silent on social media because I don't really like talking on social media. And then, but if you go to LinkedIn, you search for Yaokai Jiang, Yaokai Jiang. There's a single Yaokai Jiang in the world, very easy to find. And Momen is just moment without a T, MOMEN.app. And then you can find us there.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.